I wanted to also highlight some news coming out of the Department of Homeland Security this morning. That's another step in the administration's process to reform our nation's immigration system. Beginning on February 19th, the Department of Homeland Security will take steps to begin processing individuals who under the previous administration had been forced to remain in Mexico under the Migrant Protection Protocol.
I've asked her, the VP today, because she's the most qualified person to do it, to lead our efforts with Mexico and the Northern Triangle and the countries that help. We're going to need help in stemming the movement of so many folks, stemming the migration to our southern border.
Does the U.S. have a border crisis? Yeah.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Migrants gasping for air from a truck in Frio County, Texas.
Everybody's looking for something better. We're not animals, we're human beings.
Our country is being poisoned.
The buses keep coming to New York City and Washington, D.C.
New York City is a self-declared sanctuary city.
Republicans are playing politics with human beings, using them as props.
This issue will destroy New York City.
Texas has been left alone as some frontier outpost.
Biden is simply derelict in his duty.
Border, border, border. To secure our own border before we talk about doing anything else.
It has consumed American politics for years. And this year, an election year, it's everything. But this crisis is almost two crises, depending on where you sit politically. Some see it as an invasion.
An invasion.
A big surge of potentially bad people, they say. Drug dealers, those who don't belong. The other side believes the crisis is humanitarian, where bad things happen to desperate people.
Tonight, the drowning of 3 migrants, a woman and 2 children, escalating tensions between the White House and the state of Texas.
Somewhere between these two realities is what both sides agree is a truly broken system, where even those who get in will, in many cases, be ordered to leave the U.S. at the end of a complicated, confusing court process that can take years.
The situations are so risky and so complicated for them that they can no longer wait. And sometimes they decide to risk it all.
So let's try to understand what the U.S. border crisis actually is, starting with the raw numbers. So anyone who tells you how many migrants cross illegally into the U.S. each year is guessing, because no one has that number. Best we can do is look at how often U.S. Border Patrol catches people trying to cross. Donald Trump's first year in office, 2017, he gets tough on border security. Orders a wall, hires thousands more Border Patrol agents, pours money into detention facilities. And that year, apprehensions are at historic lows, just over 300,000, which maybe still sounds like a lot because that's almost 1,000 people a day just getting caught trying to get in. But the numbers get bigger. 2018, just over 400,000 apprehensions. The year after, 859,000. This is still while Trump is president. 2020 was a funny year, the start of the pandemic, the start of lockdowns worldwide, people moved less, and the U.S. tightened its border. But a year later, Joe Biden's first year in office, the number of migrants trying to cross explodes. 1.6 million apprehensions. The year after, 2.2 million. 2023 still hovered at around 2 million apprehensions, but 2024 is on pace to smash all previous records. And everyone knows the problem isn't going away.
The border is the worst it's ever been. You see millions and millions of people coming across the border illegally. We don't know where they come from.
I've been clear from the very beginning, the system is broken.
How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration, and you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you
now,
just a number? Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Let's just get to the point, okay? The point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions,
I'm not finished.
so a rough estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country.
3 years ago, 689 Chinese migrants crossed the southern border. Last year, that number soared to over 37,000, part of an explosion of migrants coming here from all over the globe. Currently, most migrants are released into the U.S. to wait, often years, for asylum hearings. Critics say that encourages migrants to come, and President Biden should change course through executive action.
The NYPD has 2 suspects in custody. Police say both suspects are migrants, and one was recently released from jail in June.
When that case was adjudicated, his next step should have been in a bus or a plane to remove from our city.
So New York has controversially been releasing dangerous criminals who, after they get released, then go on to commit more crime. And while proponents say sanctuary city status makes New York an immigrant-friendly destination, which a small number of bad actors could be using to their advantage, critics say that, combined with our laws that let criminals walk free, are why these streets just get more and more dangerous every single day.
Wait until you hear this.
They're currently tracking 425,000 non-citizens who have been convicted of a crime who are roaming the country right now.
So after months of debate over the U.S. border, we now find out that 400,000 criminals are living somewhere in the country. And although that's certainly not as high as the 10 million border encounters recorded in America since 2021, critics say the presence of even just one dangerous individual puts both law-abiding Americans and asylum seekers in danger, and there's 400,000 people like this.
What we've learned from the acting ICE director, there are over 13,000 convicted of homicide who are roaming the United States right now. All these numbers we just rattled off, they don't even account for the nearly 2 million gotaways.
This morning, ABC News has confirmed a Lebanese man apprehended by U.S. Border Patrol has acknowledged being a member of Hezbollah, considered one of the most dangerous terrorist groups in the world. FBI Director Christopher Wray warned of dangerous people crossing the border.
8 nationals of Tajikistan with ties to ISIS have been arrested by ICE. The arrests took place in New York City, Los Angeles, and Philly.
We've also seen this series of robberies, what the NYPD is describing as migrant-driven robberies in the area of Central Park.
The Border Patrol chief put a lot of blame on policy, saying if there aren't any consequences, people are going to continue to come, and you're still going to see the cartels smuggle people. It's quite possible we'll see another record year here at the southwest border.
Seen record numbers for migrant encounters, and more migrants means more money. And who exactly is going to be paying for that? Well, this current administration, their approach right now with what they're doing is hitting the American taxpayer in the pocket 3 times over. So what do we mean by that? Well, previous administrations leaned really heavily on the act of detention, detaining people who crossed over while they awaited their asylum processes. Some also relied on the remain in Mexico policy. That's not happening right now. Right now, these individuals are not waiting in detention while their process plays out. Rather, they're being released into the country, and the community is surely feeling it at this point. So right now, what our sources are telling us is that Border Patrol is spending over $100 million every month to operate these soft-sided facilities across the southern border that we're seeing. Now, these are temporary processing facilities that are popping up. News Nation has been able to independently confirm that one expansion in El Paso alone to one of these facilities cost the government over $1.9 million. But what's more here is the operational cost just to operate these facilities. Sources in Yuma alone, they're saying that it is an astronomical $500,000 a day to operate 2 of their soft-sided processing facilities. Now, after they're released from those facilities, the majority are going to go over to an NGO, a non-government organization, which is supplemented by FEMA. Of course, that comes from taxpayer dollars. Well, the agency made more than $363 million available in the last fiscal year to respond to the migrant crisis. Over $35 million of that went to faith-based charities, the majority being Catholic charities, and about $11 million went to a Yuma World Hunger Task Force. Now, the NGO will then release those individuals and sends them to their city of their choice. A lot of them are these sanctuary cities like New York and Chicago. FEMA sent over $100 million that went to New York City. $19 million went to Illinois Department of Health, and another $10 million went directly to the city of Chicago. Okay, here's where we're at right now. The president is asking Congress to give 5 major cities $1.4 billion. That's billion with a B. And while they say that they appreciate it, that's not enough. The mayors of these 5 cities in this letter say that their cities and the local taxpayers are bearing the brunt of this ongoing federal crisis, and they're now seeking at least $5 billion. Now, a retired sector chief in Yuma that I spoke with says that the fact that the mayors didn't actually offer any solutions to the influx of illegal immigration that we're seeing, but they asked for more money to assist those that are continuing to come, is like a Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired. You know what? You got to take responsible for what happened in your administration.
I, Kamala David Harris, solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. That I will support and defend